So far, I've really enjoyed doing challenge runs for Cyberpunk. The Adam Jensen run was super cool because he's such a cool character, and the David run was fun to play and a run you guys really seemed to enjoy as you all made abundantly clear in the comments, including the legendary Lars Burrito himself. Now, with Adam and David done, it's time to do a run of Cyberpunk as the runner-up on the first poll. It's time to try to beat Cyberpunk 2077 as the RoboCop Alex Murphy. Now, the rules for the run are pretty simple, though I had to make some concessions. First, obviously, I must dress myself to look as close to RoboCop as possible and roleplay him as closely as I can. This kinda leads into one of the challenges of the run, but first, let's talk about weapons and cyberware. RoboCop is most well known for his use of two weapons primarily, one being his signature Auto 9 handgun, and the other being the devastating Cobra assault cannon. He also uses his data strip as a spike weapon, but I never really did that, so whatever. While I'm aware of an Auto 9 mod for Cyberpunk on the Nexus, I'm on Xbox Series X, so I'll just have to use two approximations. First, for the Auto 9, the Crime Stopper Kappa handgun. Not only is it thematically perfect for RoboCop, but it's also a smart link weapon, which fits Murphy's auto-targeting systems perfectly. For the Cobra Assault Cannon, a sniper rifle-looking weapon that fires explosive rounds, what better weapon than the Nakota Osprey? I planned for this run to be a run of the base game since the primary antagonist is Arasaka, which is an excellent stand-in for OCP from RoboCop, but I ended up basically having to do all of Phantom Liberty to get my hands on my primary firearms for the run, so it'll be a while until I get my hands on those, but let's talk about my cyberware. So there were really only 3 pieces of cyberware that I felt like I needed for the run. The projectile launch system to act as my arm crowd control cannon, specifically the thermal PLS to double up as my arm flamethrower as well, the fortified ankles to mimic the flight pack as best as possible, and the Shotgun to replicate RoboCop's ability to create a barrier of electricity around him. One thing I wanted to do as a part of the challenge was to make just about everything other than what's under the helmet mechanical, so I do plan to get extensive cyberware as part of the run, but those 3 are vital to the character run. Speaking of challenges for the run, there are mostly 2. First, being that I am a cop, I must adhere to my 4 primary directives: to serve the public interest, to protect the innocent, to uphold the law, and to never oppose an OCP officer. In effect, this means that I can only do NCPD Assault in Progress missions and NCPD Scanner missions for extra XP or eddies. I cannot harm innocent people and have to do my best to protect them when I find them in harm's way. I cannot break the law, save for one exception that I couldn't really find a workaround for. And finally, while I am equating Arasaka to OCP for this run, the not opposing OCP officers directive will apply to NCPD only, meaning I cannot harm or offensively engage with any police officer for this run. That's the main challenge, the part tied to the roleplay, but as a fun little additional challenge, because of how clunky RoboCop is and because he only drives a police cruiser, I have to run, dash, crouch, and use cover as little as possible during the run and can only drive a cop car. I tried not running, dashing, crouching, or using cover at all, but that brought up a lot more issues than I was expecting. And as for the cop car, you can't get one without breaking the law, so I made an exception to the no breaking the law rule for that. Well, them's the rules. If you guys want to be around for the next run, Phantom Liberty as Deus Ex protagonist and bathroom investigator JC Denton, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, before we get into the run proper, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for 15k subscribers. It was a milestone we broke just recently, and it's still just so surreal that I've been able to garner such a huge community of such awesome people. I really want to make it abundantly clear that, while I'm the guy that's making the videos and gets to be the YouTuber, you guys are the reason I get to live this life. The reason I get to be happy and play games for a living. The reason I get to interact with such nice and cool people on a daily basis. I don't know any of you personally, but from the bottom of my heart, I cherish you all and appreciate your kindness and support. Also, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the first video of 2025 on the gaming channel, so Happy New Year's, guys! We had a great 2024 on the channel, so here's to another awesome year. Alright, long-ass yap and intro over, time to start the run. First off, we'll be doing the run on very hard, of course, same as always. I'll be starting with the Corpo start since Murphy was an OCP officer prior to his death. I try to recreate Peter Weller as best I can, and I start with this stat lineup since these will pretty much be all I spec into for the run. body for the health boost to offset the lack of agility, maneuverability, and use of cover, tech for our cyberware and to strengthen the armed crowd control cannon, and cool to boost the power of our Auto 9 and Cobra assault cannon. After relieving my anxiety into the sink at Arasaka counter intel, Jenkins, my superior, kills half of the European Space Council and then orders me to fund a hit job on another member of OCP, Abernathy. Normally I would oppose such heinous actions, but you can look at it in 3 different ways. First, the least fun way, I have to do all of this to progress in the game, I can't skip it, it's non-optional. Boring and lame. The other 2 ways are more fun. You can either use the Arasaka is OCP angle and say that I can't oppose a direct order from a superior because of my 4th Prime Directive, or you can say that Alex Murphy hasn't died and become RoboCop yet, so he does this begrudgingly due to his morals, but also still wants to provide for his wife and child. Regardless, I meet up with Jackie at Lizzie's bar, we talk about the job, OCP goons show up and terminate our employment, and me and Jackie decide to join the NCPD, regardless of its corruption, to try and make Night City a better place. A more respectable place where families can live without being in a constant state of fear. For the first real mission, Jackie and I have been tasked with rescuing Sandra Dorset, an innocent woman who's been kidnapped by some scavs. After warning this innocent civilian to get back into her apartment, I dispatch this dirtbag, Jackie and I take down these 2, I decide to go loud as I would decide to do for most of the combat encounters in the game a la RoboCop fashion, the forward and direct approach, and then we take down the last scav in a partner teamwork maneuver. Your move, creep. With Miss Dorset taken to safety, our first mission was completed successfully, Jackie and I shake our tails, Jackie gets me home for some shut-eye, and the next morning, I receive my cybernetic targeting system implant, aid my fellow NCPD officers in a use of force engagement, meet up with my next potential employer of my next NCPD contract who sounds suspiciously like a criminal in the commission of illicit activity, and head to All Foods to deal with the Maelstrommer scumbags. Now there's no way that Murphy would deal with criminals, so naturally, being a police officer of OCP, he'd be more than willing to meet with Meredith Stout and aid a fellow company agent while also upholding the law, and getting the flathead for the totally legal and above-board relic repossession mission this is all for. Stout has her security assault me, which is no bueno, but we eventually reach a compromise. After turning down this scumbag's offer of the use of illicit substances, I pay Mr. Simon Randall with the Militech chip, it burns them, and I begin detaining the Strommers that surrender and using authorized lethal force against those that don't. Since I don't have my Auto 9 or my Cobra assault cannon, I just use the Dying Knight to fight my way through the All Foods like normal, taking care not to run or crouch and to use cover as little as possible under the circumstances of having very low health and armor on very hard, all the way until I get to the boss fight with Randall. Taking him down is actually pretty easy. I just run around the concrete support pillars and shoot him until I run out of handgun ammo, at which point I go and grab some more, rinse and repeat, and I apprehend Randall. Simon Randall, you are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. Anything you say may be used against you. Stout is satisfied with the operation and the arrest. We're compensated with the flathead, and I go ahead and speak with Ev and knock out all the beady stuff to find the relic. With everything in place, the team holds a coordinations and engagement tactics meeting where I notify Mr. Deshawn of Miss Parker's intention to double-cross him, earning a pay raise and commendations, and Jackie and I get to Konpeki and use the flathead to get into Yorinobu's room to in turn gain access to the biochip. I make sure to commandeer the Congo handgun from Yorinobu since it allows for ricochet shots just like RoboCop's trick shots, and I witness the second-degree murder of Mr. Saburo Arasaka by his son Yorinobu. A situation not entirely dissimilar to when the crook, former senior president Dick Jones, took the OCP chairman hostage, though I don't recall it turning out too favorably for him in the end. Regardless, considering the situation, I realize that Jackie and I have to escape before Yorinobu can use Prime Directive No. 4 to prevent me from carrying out due justice. With Congo, I was able to dispatch the corrupt OCP members working for Yorinobu instead of the company. The bottom floor is a bit tough, especially without really using cover, but after defeating the criminals down there, I fought against their Ed 209 and resoundingly destroyed it as well, proving that I, not it, am the future of law enforcement. Jackie and I tactically retreat from the hotel, and I use my surface pistol to destroy the drones attempting to pursue us, but by that point, Jackie's a mess. They'll fix you. they'll fix everything. After sending Jackie's body to his mother, Mr. Deshawn betrays me and kills me, thus beginning my life as RoboCop. Or maybe Johnny Silverhand, apparently? For the Johnny sections, I basically just speedrun them to get back to the challenge. After coming back to life as OCP Crime Prevention Unit 001, I crawl out of the garbage. Takemura, a loyalist OCP agent here to rescue and recover me, fires Deshawn, thank you, and we flee from the pursuing enemy forces. Vic fixes me like he always does. I find out that my programming has been corrupted by an engram trying to rewrite my brain, and after about an hour and 40 minutes of walking around, making sure to use crosswalks, stopping crime whenever and wherever I saw it, and collecting the clothes I currently have available for my RoboCop body, I complete the look. At least for now, as the closest outfit is locked behind Phantom Liberty, which I won't be able to get to until level 15. After taking care of some suspected organized crime activity missions for the NCPD, I met with Takemura to discuss our options for dealing with the corruption in the OCP and in my systems due to the biochip. I decided that I needed to track down the treacherous Evelyn Parker for answers, and her known cohort, Punch and Judy, cooperated with the investigation by pointing me in the directions of the Clouds establishment. Upon entering the club, I briefly got distracted by Alex Murphy's feelings, but then questioned a potential witness, conducted an investigation as to Miss Parker's whereabouts, arrested this known gang member and commandeered his VIP access, learned about Forrest from Mr. Tom, and attempted to speak with Mr. Forrest about what transpired between him and Miss Parker, but he didn't cooperate with questioning and attempted to assault an officer and incite violence against an officer in the commission of an official investigation, so we had a talk. After learning what I needed to know, I dispatched the gangsters discharging firearms at me, and Judy and I continued the investigation with our next lead, a Ripper Doc referred to as Fingers. I asked to speak with Fingers before these ladies, and they allow me to cut in line, so I get the opportunity to speak with Mr. Finn Gerstadt. At first I speak with Mr. Gerstadt cordially as a private citizen, but the more we speak, the more his corruption becomes clear. So I get my next lead, condemn him, and leave. Judy and I confiscate the deep-fried Death's Head Moth XPD and investigate it, which allows us to locate Miss Parker's location. She's been kidnapped by scavs. Honorary Officer Judy drives me over to the location, and I proceed to basically just tear through all the scavs with little difficulty. Let the woman go. You're under arrest. We find Miss Parker, but she's suffered emotional shock, so we rescue her and take her back to Judy's apartment for recuperation. Judy's able to recover some of the information Miss Parker has about who hired her to acquire the biochip, and, as it turns out, she seemed to be employed by the Voodoo Boys, a notorious gangster outfit. I enlist the aid of a fixer named Mr. Hands to get into contact with these street scum, and while I wait, I pick up the rewards for a couple of already completed missions, pay back my debt to Vic, and attend the funeral of my former partner. Next, having run out of missions that I know for certain don't involve anything explicitly illegal, I meet up with Takemura, who has the right-hand guard of Hanako Arasaka, Oda, meet with us. He's unwilling to aid in our investigation, but he does inadvertently get us a lead. Goro wants to use the upcoming parade as a chance to speak directly to Hanako to plead our case and have Yorinobu terminated for his crimes. At this point, after planning how we intend to do this and beginning preparations, I'm able to get into contact with a Placide of the V-Boys gang as he is in the commission of an illegal poultry production. He explains that his leader, Maman Brigitte, is currently indisposed, and in order to gain an audience with her to further the investigation as to how to undo the corruption of the biochip, I need to remove some animal gangsters illegally squatting in the derelict Grand Imperial Mall. The GIM turns out to be a pretty difficult area since a lot of the animals either charge straight at me, which isn't great because of my low agility and maneuverability from not being able to run or dash, or they pack heavy weapons that tear straight through me because I'm trying not to use cover. After a lot of retries in each of the major areas, I was able to make it to wanted criminal Matilda K. Rose. This fight was feeling pretty impossible without being able to run away from her or dash out of the way of her attacks, and I died several times trying to fight her straight up, and even a couple times when I bit the bullet and tried to do a stealth takedown for any advantage I could get, but during one of my failed stealth attempts, I was able to walk away from her just fast enough that, while chasing me, she got stuck on this corner. From there, I was able to pretty much just sit right here and shoot her with Simon Randall's Chaos handgun until I ran out of ammo and had to finish her off with an ED-209 gun. Had I not gotten that stroke of luck, I might have had to try to sneak past to progress, which would have been very lame and out of character, so I'll take the win even if it's cheesy. I place Rose under arrest and meet with Agent Mosley of Netwatch, who aids me in crippling the Voodoo Boys, putting me in a better position to get the information I need for my investigation. Placide assaults an officer, so I apply non-lethal force to his face with my fist, but luckily for him, Brigitte delays Placide's arrest by offering to help me. I go into the net and do the Johnny stuff, Mosley fries the VDBs, and I subdue the remaining malcontents. Come quietly, Placide, or there will be trouble. After a pretty easy fight using my same strategy as the David run, where I just peek at Placide from the doorway, I drop and then finish him off. I'm not arresting you anymore. With level 15 achieved and this part of the main story complete, Dogtown becomes available, so I head straight there, do the mind-numbingly difficult opening after dying several 100 million times and getting so PO'd I accidentally committed a property damage, especially this section where I literally just hid behind a box until I could leave, and the Chimera fight where I had to bite the bullet and run around to dodge the missiles, and finally, I became an official FIA agent. With Dogtown open to me now, I head over to the clothes store in the stadium and complete the true RoboCop outfit. I also take the opportunity to get implanted with the armed crowd control cannon and the flight pack using the cash I had accumulated so far. Being that I had to clear 90% of Phantom Liberty for my Auto 9 and Cobra Assault Cannon, I made sure to take care of that while I was here, meeting with and teaming up with FIA agent Solomon Reed, a man who shares my pain of trying to serve the people and being betrayed by his company. We meet up with Agent Alina Xenakis. We convince her to help us rescue Agent So-Mi from former NUSA Colonel Kurt Hansen. She gives us a lead that takes us to former Voodoo Boys netrunner Slider, who we subdue all the cronies of in order to enlist his aid. He gets us in touch with So-Mi, but gets fried in the process. I do 3 gigs for Mr. Hands, specifically waiting for Dodger, where I either run past or non-lethally dispatch all of Dodger's men to save the 2 trapped NCPD officers, since Dodger's men are all wearing Bargist colors, and Bargist is kinda like the Dogtown police force, and I don't know the jurisdiction there. I do the Dogtown Saints gig and subdue all the scavs in the church/clinic to rescue Dr. Anthony Anderson from Scav Nika, who was holding him hostage, specifically having to lethally dispatch her due to her harming an innocent civilian. And I fought my way through the Voodoo Boys in this incredibly tough boss fight against the past of law enforcement to meet up with Netwatch agent Alan Noel, who is using criminal Milko Alexis as a means to take down a whole Netrunner bad guy network, which I let him do. Then I meet up with Mr. Hands and get info from him that will allow Reed and I to breach into Hansen's base undetected. Alex, Reed, and I all go over the plan. Reed and I fight our way through without an iota of stealth, and I'm rewarded with the Resetsu sniper rifle, which will basically be my Cobra assault cannon until I can get my hands on the Dakota Osprey. I play Alex Murphy until Reed and I rendezvous with So-Mi. Hansen interrupts us, but we devise a plan to take the Cassell twins' IDs. Reed and I get thrown out of the club. Alex, Reed, and I meet up to plan our next attempt to rescue So-Mi, where we'll kidnap the Cassells, unlawfully kill them, I was not privy to that part, and we would take their identities and sneak into Kurt's other base. I grab my other Cobra Assault Cannon. I use my Cobra Assault Cannon to clear the tracking station transceiver and then access the second one. I listen to So-Mi's sob story. I get the So-Mi silver bullet from Reed and the face changer from Farida. We kidnap and murder 2 semi-innocent civilians. I do the most important thing in the entire run by getting into an elevator with Alex and Murphy. I trick the Colonel, betray So-Mi, escape the secured area, and finally fight Kurt Hansen. And I mean, like, actually fight him for the first time ever. Whew, that was a lot, I know. But I just speedran all the Phantom Liberty stuff because the run is supposed to be of the base game. No worries though, the next run will be fully dedicated to Phantom Liberty. In any case, being that the Hansen fight is a major boss fight, a tough challenge, and this is my first time ever doing it, I thought I'd tell you guys how I was able to arrest him. From the past 2 times of doing Phantom Liberty, I knew I could just run past him, but I had to book him this time. He's a cop killer. Hansen comes in with 2 ads, so I start the fight by using the armed crowd control cannon as soon as they all come in, and then I start unloading on Kurt with the Cobra Assault Cannon, which packs a hell of a wallop. After that, I start circling around the statue in the middle of the room so that Kurt doesn't have a direct line of fire on me, and I pick off his buddies. He starts darting around the room trying to shoot me, but my cannon and targeting system completely outclass him. That is, until he drops below 60% health, where he drops the gun, but not because he's under arrest. It was because he switches to his Yakuten hunting knife Fang, which is somehow deadlier than the machine gun. He kills me incredibly quickly after that, and despite my best efforts over the next several attempts, I don't ever get him below 50% health. He's too fast to avoid without being able to run or dash, and even if I did run or dash, my dashes aren't good enough to hold up. So I thought for a while that I was toast here, but after doing some research to see if I could somehow improve my odds, I found gold. Apparently, if you jump on top of this food stand at the start of the fight, Kurt and his goons will just sit under the food stand and not be able to hit you. Better yet, if you only hit him with headshots and don't kill his allies, he never drops the machine gun and gets the guaranteed knife attack animation, and never starts jumping around the room. So I literally just stood on top of the food stall and blew his brains out with the Cobra assault cannon. Thank you for your cooperation. Good night. After that, I finished up the last of what I needed to do for the main quest of Phantom Liberty, and was finally able to do the Heaviest of Hearts gig, where I suggested that the corrupt DA play by the rules, and I get the Crime Stopper, my Auto 9. With my service firearms finally acquired, I can go back to the base game and just do the main quest and finish the game. I threaten to charge Rogue with aiding and abetting the wanted fugitive Anders Hellman, so she cracks and agrees to help me get information about his whereabouts. In the meantime, I meet up with Goro and we go over the plan for the parade. I use my OCP credentials to enter the float holding area, and I use my flight pack to escape when my cover's blown. At this point, I wanted some more levels for my build and more cash for cyberware, so I went out and did some Cyber Psycho quests. I wanted to try to do things non-lethally since these people are just suffering a psychotic break and need help from a mental health professional, but dead or alive, they're coming with me. After protecting the innocent and subduing the broken, Rogue gives me the call and gets me the information on Hellman. She also puts me into contact with Pan Am Palmer, someone she believes can help me retrieve Hellman. Before we do, Pan Am needs help dealing with some Raffen, so I go and get my body upgraded, and then Pan Am and I take on the Raffen that came to do the 6th Street deal for Nash. This fight was kinda difficult because every now and then I'd just get one shot out of nowhere, but eventually my armed crowd control cannon, Cobra assault cannon, and my Auto 9 were able to drop all the perps. I try to warn Pan Am against going after Nash for revenge, but she seems dead set on it, and I'm not one to leave my partner high and dry, so we ride up on Nash and his crew, I clear out the initial closer perps with the Auto 9, and then finish off the rest of the ones at a further distance, including that dirtbag Nash, with the Cobra assault cannon. With the deal complete, Pan Am helps me retrieve Hellman. After overloading the power station and knocking the Kang Tao AV Hellman is on out of the sky, Pan Am and I head over, I take out all the Kang Tao bots with my Cobra assault cannon, and we're able to save Mitch, but Scorpion is dead. This is now an official manhunt. The fleeing Kang Tao are now wanted for multiple cases of first-degree murder, the kidnapping of Anders Hellman, aiding and abetting the fugitive Anders Hellman, and the commission of an assault on an officer using deadly force. After dispatching the goons the main convoy left to cover them using my law enforcement shooter, I arrive at the Chu station that they've bunkered down in. It's heavily fortified, and I fail to pick off everyone from a distance with the Cobra assault cannon, but with the speed and power at which I can fire my Auto 9 and drill through the suspects' weak spots, I'm basically able to melt through any resistance and apprehend Anders Hellman. After interrogating the suspect, I unlock the final mission, so I meet up with Takemura, and it's time to talk with Hanako. As to be expected of RoboCop, I announce my presence and my intentions to place each of the 3 snipers and all of their cohorts under arrest, but they each and every one of them resist my arrest, so I took them down. Being that Oda has thrown in his lot with Yorinobu, I now have to arrest him. My big, clunky, bulky, undexterous, and unagile RoboCop playstyle doesn't match well against Oda's fighting style of being ultra-agile and constantly rushing forward. I tried the first couple of times to start with grenades and let loose with the Auto 9, but his mask makes him immune to smart tracking, so I mostly relied on the Cobra assault cannon. Oda took me out a couple times, but eventually, I finally found a counter to his being so much faster than me.
Oda! Of course you're here!
I want you.
Beware! He will activate camouflage. Look for breaks in the light.
That's right. You will not.
He's finished. V, what is your status?
Just like with Hansen in the food stall, had I not had that pile of concrete mix bags to stand on, this fight would have been, well, not impossible, but significantly harder. With Sendayu Oda incapacitated, we apprehend Hanako for questioning and escape the area. Takemura and I try to reveal the findings of our investigation to Miss Arasaka, but before we're able to finish the after-action report, the corrupt faction finds us and kidnaps the chairwoman. I make sure to rescue my ally, and together we escape the ambush. Hanako remotely contacts me after the fact and confirms our report. Johnny actually saves me, earning him just a smidge of my respect. I grind out a couple more Cyber Psycho missions and general NCPD gigs for more XP and enough money to basically make most of my body robotic to truly become RoboCop, only foregoing the frontal cortex because most of Murphy's brain is still organic, and foregoing the nervous system largely because there was nothing really useful for me in that category, and finally, I meet with Miss Arasaka and we plan to take back the company. For the ending, the reason I ultimately decided on the Arasaka ending is because RoboCop would never work with known criminals like Rogue and her company, given the choice, and he would never want to put innocent civilians like the Nomads in harm's way. The solo ending is just an effort in futility as well, since, as both Johnny and RoboCop are painfully aware, destroying a company does nothing, as they'll just rebuild. The reason why I feel the Hanako ending is the most in character for RoboCop is because Hanako presents as a reformist who wants to stop Yorinobu's wanton destruction and correct the mistakes of Arasaka's past. She seems like a decent enough person. If RoboCop can root out the corruption like he did with Dick Jones, OCP can continue to operate, but under more ethical guidelines and better management. Well, Hanako is being held hostage by Yorinobu's people, so Hellman, Takemura, and I head to her estate. I, in a rare instance of stealth, tactically take down all of Yorinobu's men non-lethally to avoid as much loss of personnel as possible, being that Hanako is about to take over, and we rescue Hanako. We all head to Arasaka Tower and hold a board meeting where Hanako, Saburo's ghost, and I all reveal Yorinobu's treachery to the board, even though they already knew and did nothing. Yorinobu starts a coup, and Oda, Takemura, and I fight our way to the top of Arasaka Tower through all of Yorinobu's traitors with all the loyalists aiding us until we make it to one of the worst and strongest scumbags on Yorinobu's payroll, Adam Smasher.
Adam Smasher! I fucking knew it!
Be careful, speed! We have one person! Good kill!
Trust me, I know.
Survival favors the strong. You are a traitor, Goro. And now, I as the corporation will crush you. It will be my pleasure! All for naught. Don't prolong the inevitable.
Retreat! Gather your strength!
Struggle if you wish. Come here. Survival favors the strong. You won't leave here alive. You spared Oda. So very human and disgusting. Mercy is disgusting. Struggle if you wish.
流れに身を任せよう。
Taking fire!
There will be nothing left.
Hello? Where are you? Surround him!
On my way.
Target hit!
Oh, I missed it.
Kill or be killed!
Lay it on him.
Come out with your hands in the air!
Where is Rogue?
Hands down!
Once I finish with you, I'll hunt her down!
They are reloading. We attack now.
Survival favors the strong! Scrub out this rot cow!
It's only a matter of time.
This is beyond you!
Get going! He's hit.
Are you going to endure? Retreat is no option!
Keep shooting! This is for you! Surround him!
On the move!
Face
Open fire! Shoot! Hey, tough boy!
this is There will be nothing left.
And who is this wreck?
Open and fire!
Now!
Retreat is no option. favors the strong! Struggle if you wish! Survival favors the strong! Struggle if you wish! Survival favors the strong! Is this a pain? Forgotten the sensation.
He is weak! End him! It's time now! Or never!
Struggle if you wish! Come, face me. Survival favors the strong! Struggle if you wish!
Oh, I missed this!
Survival favors the strong!
Adam Smasher. Finally. Done and gone. What's your take, Johnny? Son of a bitch. It's basically scrap. Suppose it'll have to do. And Smasher, don't bother trying to get up. You pile of junk.
Mercy for this thing?
It's never too late. Something to think about.
This fight was pretty mid in terms of difficulty compared to past runs, where the Adam Jensen run took multiple hours and drove me insane, and the David run was so easy I had to check the difficulty. Takemura helping me definitely, well, helped me, but not being agile again bites me in the robo-rear since Smasher launches more bullets and missiles at me in the fight than an entire military. After a couple of failed attempts, what made the real difference was the power of my Auto 9 and Cobra assault cannon, the Deadeye damage I was dealing, the flamethrower burn damage from my arm crowd control cannon, the weak spot damage from the relic upgrade, my flight pack helping me dodge when I otherwise couldn't, and my nearly 400 hit point health pool. Adam Smasher, you're under arrest. Book 'em, Takemura. Murder 1. After hearing Yorinobum's side of the story, and being a bit concerned about the future of the company, only for my concerns to be proven true when Saburo takes over Yorinobu's body, I stopped doing what RoboCop would do, and started doing what a good cop from South Metro would do. I started doing what Alex Murphy would do. Rather than signing my soul over to OCP all over again, I decided to enjoy my last 6 months by serving the people instead of OCP. I was finally free. That's it. I beat the game as RoboCop. This was by far the hardest run so far, just because of the complete lack of versatility and agility. The hardest possible playstyle for very hard is to try to beat stick the game and to try to just tank everything without dodging around or using cover. The only way this build works is if you can outdamage the enemies, which contradicts the entire point of very hard, as was evident with my having to cheese all of the boss fights. Still, the roleplay was just as fun as the other guys. Adam Jensen was the cool, calm, and collected hyper-lethal badass. David was the spunky hood rat with a heart of gold and something to prove. And RoboCop was the paradigm of a good man caught between a rock and a hard place. Fueled by his desire for justice, bound by his programming to pursue OCP's interests. Throughout the run, I never harmed a cop, never drank while on the job, I always tried to talk people down from violence or danger, I tried not to associate with criminals, and I tried to be as non-lethal as possible as often as possible while using stealth as little as possible. Of all the runs so far, this run's roleplay most heavily affected the challenge of the run and most heavily impacted what I did and how I acted. It was a really fun and interesting playthrough. Well, next run is as JC Denton, finishing the first batch of runs the same way we started it, with Deus Ex, but you guys have given me a lot of cool ideas, so stay tuned for the next poll coming after the next run. It'll be 4 brand new characters, all of which will be suggestions from you guys, and I'll be combing through these videos and all the old Cyberpunk videos for ideas, so be sure to leave your suggestions down below. Alright, thank you all so much for watching, I hope you all enjoyed the video, be sure to like the video to support the series, and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on new Cyberpunk 2077 video releases. See you guys next time, peace.